Welcome to Nicstalgia, the pop culture podcast where we have deep conversations about superficial things. I'm your host, Nicole Tremaglio, and each week my guests and I deep dive on the parts of pop culture that made them who they are today. If you like the show, please follow, rate, and review on your platform of choice. Watch us on YouTube and Spotify, and subscribe to our super fun newsletter at nicstalgia.substack.com. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Nicstalgia. I have my friend Merel with me here today, and she is a self-proclaimed Aries Angel, as am I, and we are also, yes, I'm an Aries.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yes, we are both Aries and we are both 2000s enthusiasts. We already have so much to talk about, I can already tell. So welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited. I've listened to your show I've listened to your show before, but especially the last couple of weeks, and I love what you do.
Thank you so much. Okay, so when's your birthday? Because we're both Aries Angels.
The 29th of March.
Oh, mine's April 2nd. So
really?
Listen, that's a very, very important week for anyone who didn't know. It is the birthday between March 26th and April 2nd. First of all, the two of our birthdays, but also Lady Gaga's birthday, Mariah Carey's birthday, Celine Dion's birthday, and probably other people that I'm forgetting. So it's just like a really, really big week for people very influential to pop culture.
Aries Queens.
Yes.
All Aries Queens.
You also have an online store called Ex-Girlfriend Shop, and you do a really good job at curating pieces that really show this, like, it's really like a time capsule, a very specific era in time. And so I've talked before about kind of how Y2K now is used kind of like as an umbrella term that encompasses a multiple different aesthetics from the 90s to the 2000s. And I even think that there was a shift from the early 2000s to the mid and late 2000s in fashion. And so you really get a bit of everything. When did you start your shop? What made you want to focus on Y2K in the 2000s? And what are some of your favorite pieces that you have?
Okay, well, first off, thank you so much. That's such a big compliment. And it kind of like gradually started for me as a shop. Well, I've been obsessed with the 2000s ever since the 2000s were the 2000s.
It happened?
Yeah, ever since it happened, I was obsessed with it and just never really went away. And for me, living in the Netherlands, I still do, it was so hard to get certain pieces that I was seeing in magazines and online and all my favorite celebrities. It was so hard. And because we didn't have access to a lot of those brands like Baby Fat and stuff, like we didn't have that. Maybe even Juicy Couture, I don't think we really had it. And if we did, it was hard to come by. And I'm from a smaller town in the Netherlands, so all that I wore was practically H&M. So I was dreaming, and we didn't even have an H&M when I was younger. So I was dreaming about wearing these pieces that I saw my favorite celebrities wear, and it can kind of like, I couldn't have it back then, but I can have it now. So it kind of like came from that, and I know how happy it makes me finding a piece that I've been wanting for so long. Or, sometimes I'm come across a piece and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was, Britney wore that. I didn't know that designer made that. And I get so happy. And if I can give that same happiness to other people by selling it, then that makes me happy even more.
Yeah.
So it kind of like became from that.
My favorite piece in your shop right now, maybe sometime last year, I did an episode about 2000s handbags because I used to be a handbag salesperson. Me and handbags go way back. And my first designer handbag, so to speak, was I actually bought it at TJ Maxx, which is like an off-price retailer store. So it was pretty deeply discounted, and it was a Dooney and Bourke white backpack. And so you have a variation on that bag,
Yes.
not the exact same one, but from the same collection. And it has kind of like these rainbow letters and numbers on it. And it was
Yes.
when Lindsay Lohan was the
Yeah.
spokesperson. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, you look at one piece of clothing or one handbag and it immediately brings you back.
So true. Yeah, for me too. I have a variation of that bag for myself too, and it came with a little card inside, and it had Lindsay Lohan's face on it. I still have it. It's in the pocket, so it's so cute.
Wow, that's
Yeah, I love
so
that.
funny.
I love that bag. Love that collection.
Yeah. What was it like growing up in the Netherlands and having like a fashion discovery moment for yourself? Like did people, because in American high schools, like a lot of kids dressed like each other. You would all go to the same local mall, and especially with the monoculture too, and everyone's watching the same TV shows, culture was a little bit more cohesive than it is now when everyone has their own separate TikTok algorithms and they can choose what aesthetic they want to wear on pretty much any day. Yeah, what was that like for you in terms of how you discovered the clothes that you felt like really made you feel like you?
Well, we had, of course, we had our own, our brands that maybe we had. I think the first thing that comes to mind is Bjorn Borg. Wasn't he like a tennis player? He had at a certain point, at least I think, I'm not really into sports. That's what I can remember. He had like this handbag line, and everybody wanted that handbag, and that was accessible to us. And then, kind of like brands like that. And of course, the styles that, maybe Baby Fat made, or like the fur jackets and the Juicy Couture tracksuits. But we didn't have Juicy Couture, so it would just be regular tracksuits. Yeah, we had those. But for me, really, I've had an Elle Girl magazine subscription at one point for a couple of years, and I would flip through the pages and just see all these styles, and that really, and of course, we had websites and stuff where we could like search what celebrity wore. There, it's kind of like a website and stuff, and I would check that, and so my discovery for fashion really, at least the fashion that I love now, really came from the magazines and came from the websites. But the more the styles that we had were maybe more like a watered down version of, what we would see in magazines or online on celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's nothing like, I imagine maybe someone that had an access to the clothes that I loved in America or maybe Canada, or it's pretty boring what we had here.
Yeah, it's funny because as much as we've been on the internet for decades now, the way that we use the internet has evolved, and a particular phenomenon that I love that has unfolded has been the celebrity outfit finding treasure hunt. Whereas, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, you could watch something on TV and be like, I love that shirt that she's wearing. And maybe it was only 10 years ago where there started to be blogs that maybe showed what brand that shirt was. Whereas now, everything is so much more accessible and so much more shoppable as well. And so I think that that's really exciting for you to be like, this is a shirt that I have in my shop that actually is like what the shirt Britney Spears wore, or it looks almost identical. And I don't know, I think that's a really cool way the internet has evolved that allows us to find things that we never would have found before.
So true. Yeah. I was actually watching The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants with a friend, and I saw, I think her name is like Libby or Tibby or something like that, one of the girls. And she was the friend that had the friend with leukemia. And then I saw her and I was like, I noticed that top. I know that top from what, and I went on look and I was like, oh, I found it. I immediately found it, bought it, and I was like, oh, that's so amazing. Because now I kind of like have this like thing in my brain where a lot of clothing lives, and then I see it in a movie and I'm like, oh, I know that brand. I love seeing that now, but back then we had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
I love your setup too. So if you are watching, you can see us and you can see the background of curated nostalgic items. I see some Paul Frank back there. We have a Barbie. We have a Beanie Baby. We have
Yes.
Britney Spears' memoir too. Tell me about how you curated your selection of items, non-clothing items.
Yes, not clothing other. Well, I'm a sucker for Barbies. I love Barbies, and I especially love a celebrity Barbie. So we have Claudia Schiffer here. Claudia Schiffer
Oh,
Barbie.
wow.
I loved her. I'm still looking for the Naomi Campbell one.
Hmm.
And I think they did Karen Mulder, Claudia Schiffer, and then Naomi Campbell at the same time. So I
Hmm.
have that, and then I have Anna Nicole Smith, her bobblehead.
Stop.
I love it.
Oh my God.
And
Wow.
then we have Britney in the back, and this one sings. So you can press
Oh,
a little
yeah.
button here and it sings. And then I have Beyonce here.
Wow.
The first Destiny's Child Barbies they did. And then, yeah, the Princess Diana
Hmm.
Beanie Baby.
Hmm.
And then, oh yeah, the Britney Bear.
Yep.
So
Wow.
I really like collecting things like that. Um, Sometimes friends give things to me too. I have a really great friend, and she's even more of a Britney obsessed fan than I am. And she gifted me like this Britney car. So she had three Britney cars in box, and she gave one to me, and it's just a pink car with Britney inside. It's so cute.
Oh, wow. That is
Yeah.
so amazing. And I mean, they really went hard on the
Yeah.
merchandising back then. And someone who we also both love, Miss Mariah Carey. I'm curious if you've come across any Mariah Carey style merch or anything like that. A friend asked me recently, wow, how does Mariah Carey make her money nowadays? Does she just sit back and wait for the All I Want for Christmas Is You royalty checks to cash in? And I'm like, oh, no, no. She has a whole empire of products, whether it was the like alcohol brand that she had, the various re-releases of her music. Like there's been so many things here and there. I'm curious if you've found anything interesting from Mariah.
Yes. So there's something I just recently bought, and it's not. It's kind of like a funny story because when her movie Glitter came out, it was
Hmm.
supposed to be called All That Glitters, and I guess Mattel made a Barbie. I think there was it was some diva line, and then they released. They were supposed to release a Mariah Carey doll that said "All That Glitters" on the box. So and it's really cute. She has a little belt that says diva.
Ooh.
But I think maybe with the change of the movie title, it never really became a Mariah Barbie, but I just recently bought that because I know that's Mariah, but it's not supposed to be Mariah, at least not now. But yeah, so that's it's still in the mail, but I love that. But she does merch for Pride. She does a collection, and I think last year I bought a CD rug. It was,
I have
of
that CD rug in my apartment.
Really? The butterfly one?
Yeah, the butterfly CD
Oh,
tufted
that's
rug.
amazing.
It's just right around the corner in my bedroom. And
Love.
it was an amazing purchase. I'm so happy looking at it every day of my life.
Same.
I love that
That's
we
so
have
much
the same
fun.
rug.
Yeah. And we have the same because you have Britney in the back, the
We have the
vinyl.
same Britney Spears vinyl. Oops, I did it again.
Yes.
Um, Yeah, I bought it at Target. It wasn't like a fun story or a treasure hunt. It was literally just like I was buying other stuff and I was like, impulse buy. I can't walk
I
by
need
Britney
it.
Spears and like not put it in my cart. So that
Same.
is how it happened. Yeah, but I feel like all of these little touches, it just like infuses this sense of joy into the
Mm,
everyday. And like
so
I
true.
found a Jerry from Spice Girls poster at a flea market for $10, and I got it signed at a book signing recently, so that was incredible. And I have my Spice Girls lollipops over there, and it's like, you know what? Is it a little unhinged? Maybe, but like I'm definitely happier on a day-to-day basis, not even in comparison to anyone else, but just to fully express myself, whether it's through clothes or whether it's through these little one-of-a-kind things that you come across. It makes even the most mundane, boring day-to-day more fun.
Yeah, isn't that what being an adult is about? Buying the stuff you wanted as a kid and that made you happy and you didn't have the money for it then, but you have it now. So why not buy what makes you happy? You know, if it makes you happy, it can't be that bad.
Yeah, some of that magic I feel like can fade away as adults are just grappling with adulthood and responsibilities and just larger scale issues, like individually and collectively. But you know what? I think there's three kinds of people. Britney said there's two kinds of people. I'm going to say there's three kinds of people in the world. One is the people who kind of wore whatever they wanted to when they were younger, and which was me. Like I'm wearing today a pair of black parachute pants, and they're basically like my grown-up version of my limited to track pants that I used to wear to elementary school. Like I've always had this sense of this is how I like to dress to express myself. And so I continue that throughout my adulthood because that's what makes me me. I feel like most people fall into the second kind of person, which is how you were saying, is maybe you didn't have access, or you know, a Juicy Couture tracksuit was super expensive. And like for a parent to purchase, let alone a kid to purchase. So, you know, you want to, you have newly gained access to something that you didn't before. And so now you can kind of enjoy this style or this aesthetic or this brand that you didn't have an opportunity to earlier. And then I think the third kind of person is the one who's mad at the first two because they just don't realize how much fun they're missing out on.
Right, right. Yeah, it's so true.
Continuing about Mariah Carey. So one of my favorite pop culture rabbit holes is Mariah Carey's life being ruined by Tommy Mottola, J-Lo being an industry plant, and the whole I don't know her saga. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, this is something I always feel like I'm like a Jehovah's Witness. I have to, you know, spread this information so everybody knows what's going on. And it's not that I hate Jennifer Lopez because she makes, well, I was going to say she makes good music, but that's also not really true.
Yeah.
I like her as an actress. I like some of her movies, definitely. But yeah, so I always say, you know, Tommy Mottola, I always say tomato mozzarella. I call him that. So I usually say to people, you know, he used Jennifer Lopez as a revenge on Mariah Carey, and then, you know, yada, 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 Jennifer Lopez came out, and then, you know, and is it really Jennifer Lopez's fault? Maybe not. That he made a producer use a sample that Mariah was already using. No, it's not Jennifer Lopez's fault, but I do kind of like feel like she could have handled it better. And I just really love artists that are authentic, write their own music, and at least sing their own songs. So I don't really have that with her. So I kind of always have like, I kind of have a one-sided beef with Jennifer Lopez a little bit. Yeah.
I was J-Lo in the Versace dress for Halloween in 2019. And so I think it was really fun. And I think that's probably when I started diving down this rabbit hole and started getting really interested in this, because I had the J-Lo CD when I was in middle school, and one of her ex-husbands, who was her dancer, I grew up dancing and used to take master classes with him. And so I was like, oh my God. I mean, that's granted, you knew him as him, not as J-Lo's ex-husband. Yeah. But yeah, I started getting very interested in this because I think that Jennifer Lopez is a really just like interesting example of like not saying, okay, I think even the idea of industry plants is a little bit of like an internet phenomenon and like a really exciting thing for TikTokers to like investigate. But I think when Tomato Mozzarella hands you a golden ticket to fame and to celebrity and to extreme wealth, she was going to take it. Let's be real. Like
Sure.
that's what she wanted to do in her career. And so I think there's a difference between her and, granted, of course, the media manufactures beef, especially between women. Like Britney and Christina is probably a prime example where like they probably really didn't have much to even say about each other at all, except they were always pit against each other. I do think that Mariah and J-Lo are like so not even comparable on a talent level that's why they couldn't really be pit against each other. With Mariah, she'll always say really good things about people other than Jennifer Lopez who could never be on her level. So like she'll say how she loves Taylor Swift, for example, because Taylor Swift could maybe have beef with J-Lo, but like could never, at least skill-wise, touch Mariah. But at the same time, nowadays, it's not really about skill anymore, is it?
No, no, no. What you're saying is true. The media does love to pit women against each other, and I guess we've seen it with Whitney and Mariah. They were supposed to be having a beef, and then they were like, well, we really don't have any beef. And then they came out with a song, and everybody was like, okay, now I guess everything's good. So, but yeah, they are on the same level. But even though I don't think Whitney wrote a lot of her own songs, but that's fine because she's super talented. And I think it's just with Jennifer Lopez, her talent maybe lies somewhere else, in my opinion. But that's fine too. But, you know, I don't really think it really was like a real beef between them, but more of like, you know, Mariah doesn't respect her maybe because of what she did. And I feel like if she would have handled it, you know, if it were me and I would have been the person that, you know, was contacted by Tomato Mozzarella and made a big star, and then you find out it's actually off the back of someone else, I would come to them and say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, you know, that this is happening. And from what I've known, that never happened. So it kind of like festered, I think, maybe. And now she's like, well, I don't even know her.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
With Mariah, she does all of her own backing vocals too. And so I will now joke that my favorite Jennifer Lopez song is Play by Christina Milian, because Christina Milian sings that entire song.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one last question for you, because I know that, like me, you are a big fan of Dollzmania and like the cute little, our favorite little computer dolls that I would spend hours making their outfits. If you were to make one that represented you, what would she be dressed in? How would you dress her up?
Okay, so this is funny because of this podcast that we're doing now. I went on Dollzmania website, and I was looking up these. They have like celebrity dress up, and they were like all kinds of like gothic dress up, and I clicked the celebrity one, and I've never seen that one before. And I was playing this earlier, and then I saw that you can dress up like Crossroads. You can dress up like the movie poster Crossroads with the three girls, and you could dress up Destiny's Child. And so I saw that, and I was like, oh, this just brings me back right away. It just brings me back. This really ignited my feel really for fashion. Well, it really ignited me wanting to work in fashion, really, for me. So I saw the girls were always having this chunky highlighted hair on the website. So I would want chunky highlights, so platform boots, little mini skirt, and then you would see like a top with a Playboy bunny on. That I love that. I love that. I love it all.
That's amazing. Okay, you share your doll maker with me. I'll share my doll maker with you
Yeah.
because I'm shocked that there's still functional websites out there because a lot of kind of like the software that it would use is outdated to a point. And so I think about that constantly, the idea of media ephemerality and like things can just go poof and like that's it, they're gone. And we like to think that because it's on the internet it's there forever, or at least that's what we were scared into thinking when we were younger.
That's so
Don't
true.
put up that picture, it's gonna be up there forever. And now we're like, wait, this stuff is not there forever. Where does it go? What does it do?
Yeah.
But I love that, and I love that Dolls website. I recently found, or I completed my DVD collection in finding Glitter and Crossroads. So I'm very happy about that. I need to watch Glitter. I watched Crossroads recently, and speaking of 2002 Britney, we were recently both Britney Spears for Halloween in the very iconic Dump Him.
Yeah, we both dump him, Britney.
Uh-huh. Like that's
So
one
much
of my
fun.
that's one of my favorite Britneys, and I think that I'm like, if I inspired one person out there to dump their shitty boyfriend, then
Was
this
worth
is a
it.
success. Yeah, this was
Yeah.
worth it.
Yes, so cute. I love that. If you could dress up as Britney every day, I would. I mean, you could. Why? But at least on Halloween, I think everybody should be Britney, and we should encourage everybody to dump their boyfriends or girlfriends
Yes.
or
Yes.
whatever.
Literally just if they're not cutting it, dump them.
I wanted to ask you, did you see Crossroads in theaters because of the
I
release of
did.
the book?
Oh,
Me
I
too.
didn't see it in theaters because of the release of the book. I saw it in theaters the first time it was
Oh, the
around.
first time. Oh, that's even more amazing. That's even more
Yes.
amazing.
Well, I went with my mom, and I remember at the time her being like, well, you can't go to school on Monday and show up and be the only one who hasn't seen it. And I'm like, that's not something like what my mom would say. She was very not like, oh, do things because other people, like if they jumped off a bridge, would you? Like
Yeah.
it really wasn't like that. And so it was the 20-year anniversary last year. And so I asked my mom, I said, why did you really take me to see the Britney Spears movie? Because I know you didn't want to see it. And she said, well, because I knew, and this was also with like the advent of AIM and like, you know, talking to your friends through a screen for the first time. I was kind of getting bullied at school. And my mom was like, I knew you really wanted to see that movie, but you wouldn't have anyone to go with. And that like absolutely broke my heart, and it made me just like have so much gratitude for my mom and being like, oh my god, she had my back, this little 12-year-old that was just trying to navigate like puberty and friends and like all of those really hard things that like it is really hard to be a girl. Like it's really really hard to be a girl, and knowing that someone like, you know, had my back and could take me to just do the one thing I wanted to do, which was see the Britney Spears movie. Now looking back at it, I'm like, oh, there are a few parts where I get why my mom would think this was inappropriate for a 12-year-old. But other than that, it all went over my head at the time. But still, I was like, that felt really special to have that moment. And
Yeah.
I just love friendship so much, and to see movies that revolve around that friendship and coming of age and growing up and becoming who you are, I love it.
Yeah, that's so sweet. And I can imagine that makes the movie maybe now even more special knowing this, that your mom did that for you.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I don't think she would want to rewatch the movie. I'm like, I'll just rewatch it myself.
Once was enough.
She's like, yeah, once in a lifetime is good enough.
Yeah, it's so amazing what music can do to you. It just goes far beyond just listening to music and enjoying it. It makes you feel something. And I have that with Mariah. It's just her music. She has a music for every type of mood you have, could have. But when I hear her music, my day is like totally shitty. my day is good again. Yeah, can resonate
Yeah.
with her music and then totally be okay.
I love that so much. And
Yeah.
I wanted to thank you too for coming on the show. I
Yeah.
could literally talk to you
Yeah.
forever. This went by
Yeah.
so, so, so fast. Tell the people where they can find you and your shop.
Okay, so I'm on Instagram. You can find me on at ex-girlfriend shop, and then I'm also on Depop where I actually sell the clothes, and it's all I'm also at ex-girlfriend shop. I'm also on TikTok. Not super active though, but I will be. I'm planning on it, and yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Thank you again so, so much. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye. That's a wrap for this week. If you like Nicstalgia, connect with me on social at Nicole Tremaglio, subscribe to the Nicstalgia newsletter at nicstalgia.substack.com, and follow, rate, and review on your platform of choice. Everything's linked in the show notes, including where to find out more about our guest of the week. Thank you so, so much for your support, and that was this week's episode of Nicstalgia.